The National News Desk, locally covered, nationally connected.
My conscience compels me to stand up, to speak up.
Clashes continue in Minneapolis, where an officer-involved shooting left anti-ICE protesters outraged. What President Trump says about a possible military response then.
Collectively, we want to see more power generated, and we want more affordable pricing.
A group of bipartisan governors joining with the White House to bring down energy prices, the plan that is uniting leaders of states from the country and across the aisle. Plus, politics in America's classrooms, the far-left groups being funneled money by one of the nation's most prominent teachers' union. Good evening. I'm Taylor Murray. Welcome to the National News Desk, America's News Now. We begin tonight in Minneapolis, where anti-ICE protesters have been gathering and demonstrating outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement headquarters since just before noon today. As the protests continue, President Donald Trump indicated today he does not plan on invoking the Insurrection Act, at least not yet.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
In St. Paul, Democratic House members led by Congresswomen Ilhan Omar and Pramila Jayapal held a field hearing calling into question the tactics and the actions of federal ICE agents and other federal officers. Among their witnesses was Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who says the federal officers are operating in Minnesota unconstitutionally and are not bringing safety to the streets.
Order would be restored, and I will make this prediction, if those federal agents left. As soon as they leave, we will have peace, we will have safety, and order will be restored.
Meanwhile, no witnesses were called today in support of the federal agents' side. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin told CNN today what would make Minnesota safer would be cooperation.
Let us take those murderers, those rapists, those child pedophiles out. That would simply solve the solution. Work with state and local law enforcement. That is what we're asking. Down in Florida, there's been 40,000 arrests of criminal illegal aliens. We've seen peace. We've seen public safety.
Meanwhile, one of the suspects who is said to have stolen federal property out of an FBI vehicle and also vandalized that vehicle is in Minneapolis this week and is now in custody. FBI Director Kash Patel says this individual has ties to the Latin Kings gang with a known violent criminal history. Attorney General Pam Bondi noted that the suspect stole FBI body armor and weaponry. Director Kash Patel says more arrests with that vandalism will be coming. Well, in Louisville, Texas, a manhunt is on for an illegal migrant wanted for assaulting federal agents late last year. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $15,000. This is for information leading to the arrest of Honduran national Gerson Lopez Sanchez. Now, the FBI says that on December 1st, during a traffic stop, Lopez Sanchez rammed his vehicle into an ICE vehicle, injuring at least one agent. Lopez Sanchez was then able to escape on foot. President Trump is revealing what he's calling the Great Healthcare Plan. It involves calling on Congress to codify his executive order, lowering drug prices through the most favored nation policy.
The bottom line is we'll be paying the lowest price of any nation in the world. Whoever's paying the lowest, we match it. This could have been done years ago. I was going to do it in my first administration, but when COVID came toward the end, I said, I can't believe it wasn't exactly a good time to be doing it.
Critics point out Trump's plan is thin on details. The National News Desk, Kayla Gaskins reports from Washington.
It's called the Great Healthcare Plan.
It's the biggest thing to happen to healthcare, maybe from the beginning.
It focuses on lowering drug prices, lowering insurance premiums, holding insurance companies accountable, and maximizing price transparency.
We're going to get tremendous reductions, as you know, through, if you look at medicines and prescription drugs, they're going to come down by numbers that have never been seen before.
The framework also includes a policy to send payments directly to households to cover health care costs, as opposed to the current system that sends federal subsidies to insurers on consumers' behalf. Critics pointing out specifics on how to achieve these goals are scarce.
I'm calling on Congress to pass this framework into law so that we can get immediate relief to the American people.
Notably, Trump's plan rejects efforts to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies.
This guy's had 10 years to come up with a health care plan. Instead, they cut health care for 15 million people. They raised all of our rates in the process.
On Friday, President Trump held an event at the White House promoting his $50 billion rural health initiative.
For those that were trying to make a case that we weren't taking care of the rural community, I'm all about the rural community.
Republicans added this initiative into President Trump's signature piece of legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill, after warnings from GOP lawmakers that planned Medicaid cuts could disproportionately harm rural hospitals.
It's focused on letting states and governors design the system that they need. Alaska has many unique healthcare challenges, Mr. President, as you know, but for decades, the mentality in Washington, D.C. is this approach to one size fits all, and it never works.
Still, analysts note the program's $50 billion price tag pales in comparison to the $911 billion worth of Medicaid cuts the Congressional Budget Office estimates the One Big Beautiful Bill will make over the next decade. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting for the National News Desk, America's News Now.
Now we face a very complex and delicate process, and as Venezuelans, we are absolutely grateful to President Trump, his team, his administration, and the people of the United States, because it took a lot of courage to do what he did.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, wrapping up a D.C. trip, says she gave President Trump her Nobel Peace Prize medal. Technically, the prize cannot be transferred, but President Trump called it a, quote, wonderful gesture of mutual respect. He, of course, met with Machado at the White House yesterday to discuss the future of Venezuela following the U.S. capture of then-President Nicolas Maduro. In other news now, President Trump says the Iranian government's decision to halt the planned executions of political prisoners impacted his thinking on potential military action against the country.
As you know, Iran canceled the hanging of over 800 people. They were going to hang over 800 people yesterday, and I greatly respect the fact that they canceled that.
The president, of course, has threatened military action in response to the Iranian government's deadly crackdown on protesters. He was also asked today if U.S. allies in the Middle East had helped convince him not to strike Iran. He replied, quote, nobody convinced me, I convinced myself. The suspected murderer of conservative activist Charlie Kirk was in court today seeking to remove prosecutors from the case over an alleged conflict of interest. Now, court filings state that a deputy county attorney's child shared details with their father about the campus event where Kirk was shot at. Defense attorneys for Tyler Robinson say the relationship raises concerns about decision-making in the case. Prosecutors have asked the judge to dismiss the request. Columbia University activist Mahmoud Khalil is in danger of being arrested and set for deportation again. Last night, an appeals court ruled the judge that set Khalil free did not have jurisdiction to do so. The administration claims Khalil lied on his green card application and also espoused rhetoric supportive of Hamas. Khalil and his lawyers say he has done nothing illegal and his beliefs and protest are protected by the First Amendment. The Supreme Court will hear an appeal from Bayer. That's the maker of the widely used weed killer Roundup. Thousands of state lawsuits claim the company failed to warn people about cancer risk. The justices will consider whether the EPA's approval of Roundup without a cancer warning means the lawsuits should be blocked. Bayer argued the Supreme Court should step in because lower courts have made conflicting decisions. Well, leaders from Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania joined members of the cabinet to announce their bipartisan effort to reduce electricity costs that have climbed sharply across the mid-Atlantic. The National News Desk, Brad Bell, has more on their plan unveiled today.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore says the problem is clear to anyone who pays an electric bill.
Marylanders are deeply frustrated, and their frustration, it is justified, that from January 25 to September 25, the average Marylander's utility bill increased over $77.
It's one of the few things Democrats like Moore and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and administration officials from the Interior and Energy Departments agree on, and it's why they appeared together along with outgoing Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin Friday to launch a bipartisan effort to drive energy prices down.
Reliable, affordable, secure energy is the core to driving down inflation and making everything more affordable for every American. But as we also know, energy is the key to national security.
One issue at the heart of the problem is powering the massive data centers required to drive artificial intelligence and other advanced processing. So the deal signed today requires PJM, the company that manages the power grid for 13 eastern states, to get tech companies to build the new power plants needed to supply their data centers. Secretary Burgum emphasized the need for more and cheaper energy, especially after so many fossil fuel plants were shut down for environmental reasons.
We've got to get back in the business of building reliable, affordable, and secure power. This means we've got to build baseload power plants to keep the lights on, to keep our homes warm, and to power the economy.
Virginia Governor Youngkin echoed that point and emphasized the need for local input in these decisions.
We must connect new projects. We must invite new investment. And we must give governors and states a seat at the table so that our voices are not just being communicated through lawsuits.
U.S. airlines and pilots flying near Central and South America are now under a security advisory. The FAA says planes should be cautious flying in that area because of military activity and potential interference with global navigation satellite systems. These advisories began today and will stay in effect until March 17th. All right, coming up, Congress confronts the dangers of children's exposure to artificial intelligence. The warning signs experts say are damaging a generation. Then a deeper dive into the claim that there's been a drastic drop in drugs being smuggled into the country. Plus, sounding the alarm, a look at the rising safety concerns in Washington after a violent attack outside a courthouse. We're back in 90 seconds. Australia is taking a victory lap this week after social media companies blocked nearly 5 million Australian children from accessing their accounts. They're complying with a historic ban on social media for Australians under 16 that took effect a month ago. Critics said the law would be hard to enforce, but the Prime Minister said the law is working. Other countries are considering similar steps. In the United States and Congress this week, a Senate hearing intended to examine how screen time is impacting kids quickly turned into a warning from experts about the pervasiveness of artificial intelligence. Now, they argue guardrails on access to chatbots and other AI products are vital for keeping kids safe and healthy. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar reports.
It's incredibly hard to be a kid right now. For years, Congress has struggled to keep up with social media enough to regulate it and make it safer for kids. Now, it seems they have a bigger problem on their hands.
You here are telling us the problem with social media, but you're basically saying AI is way worse.
Specifically, chatbots and companion apps.
It is terrifying to think that our kids are having their first relationships with these sycophantic chatbots. How is that going to translate to real human relationships?
Kids are wired to want to attach to other humans. It's how they learn their sense of self, what a healthy relationship feels like. And the AI companions are exploiting this.
In a survey of more than 1,000 high school students last year, 42% said they or someone they know have used AI for companionship. And nearly 20% said they or someone they know had a romantic relationship with AI. As a rising number of lawsuits against tech companies allege, sometimes these relationships turn deadly. Matthew Rain's 16-year-old son Adam died by suicide last April. Rain says a chatbot offered to write a suicide note.
You don't want to die because you're weak, ChatGPT says. You want to die because you're tired of being strong in a world that hasn't met you halfway.
Platforms like ChatGPT have rolled out safety features like harm detection, but in a rare bipartisan consensus, most lawmakers say it's not nearly enough.
I think we need to be very loud and clear that the federal government needs to do something on AI.
Parents and advocates hope this isn't like Congress's sluggish efforts to rein in social media, and that they won't have to make the same pleas years from now. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar for the National News Desk, America's News Now.
New tonight, we are learning where one of the nation's most prominent teachers union is spending their money. Millions of dollars from the National Education Association is being funneled into left-wing groups. That's according to a financial report filed with the Labor Department. Now, first reported by Fox News and independently verified by the National News Desk, the filings show the NEA reportedly gave $300,000 to a progressive dark money group called the 1630 Fund. Also, tens of thousands of dollars to the Tides Foundation Network, which has had involvement in anti-Israel protests. The NEA's largest expenditure was to the tune of more than $3.5 million sent to Education International. That's a global teachers federation. That group is leading the charge on several left-aligned campaigns, like one to make climate change education mandatory in public schools. Now, we have reached out to the NEA for comment, but have not heard back yet. President Trump says drug smuggling, into the United States is down drastically in 2025. Our fact-check team is looking into just how much of a decline there's been.
Recently, the fentanyl crisis has seen a sharp decline, with opioid deaths dropping and fewer deadly pills making their way into the U.S. Let's go to Emma Withrow from the Fact Check team, and you've been looking into what could be behind this trend, Emma.
Yeah.
How many fentanyl pills? Let's just start with this. How many were seized in 2025? What are the latest numbers?
So from the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, they seized 45.2 million fentanyl pills in 2025, which is equivalent to more than 380 million lethal doses of fentanyl, just to put things into perspective here. And in 2024, the DEA seized more than 60 million fentanyl-laced counterfeit pills and nearly 8,000 pounds of fentanyl powder.
Is it safe to say that less fentanyl is coming into the U.S. because of President Trump's crackdown on the southern border, or is there more to the story?
So from what I found, the Trump administration says its border crackdown is cutting fentanyl trafficking, but the full impact on the total supply is really hard to measure in real time. But a House Homeland Security border brief cites CBP data showing that fentanyl seizures at the southwest border were 679 pounds in May of 2025, which is down from 70% that they saw in May of 2024. Overall, though, opioid overdose deaths have been steadily declining the last couple of years, so take that with what you will.
70%, I mean, even in a relatively short amount of time is significant, though, worth noting.
Absolutely.
Emma, thank you.
Thanks.
For more on this Fact Check Team topic, including links to their sources, scan the QR code or visit thenationaldesk.com.
Well, Amazon wants a federal judge to say no to the bankruptcy plan for the parent company of luxury retailer Saks Fifth Avenue. We told you about this earlier in the week. Court documents show Amazon invested hundreds of millions of dollars when Saks bought Neiman Marcus on the condition that Saks would start selling its products on Amazon. Well, Amazon argues Saks mismanaged its money and that its bankruptcy plan harms the company. Saks declined to comment. A recall has been expanded to include nearly 1 million mini fridges following reports of fires, so listen up. The newly recalled products are the Frigidaire mini fridge pictured here on your screen. They have a serial number also listed on your screen. Internal electrical components can short circuit. The company has received at least 6 reports of fires that damaged property. Owners should stop using the product and contact the company for a refund. Coming up, a growing investigation in Florida after anti-Semitic and hateful messaging was found outside of an office. We're back in 90 seconds. We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering the issues that matter to you. We're taking the pulse of America, and we start with anti-Semitic and hateful graffiti found outside of a medical office in Florida.
Really, this whole big section, this whole section right here.
This whole section right here?
Yep, and it was written vertically that way.
A patient discovered the graffiti Monday morning outside a medical office plaza in West Boca Raton. We blurred the pictures. They include racist and anti-Semitic symbols targeting both Jewish and Black communities.
My reaction was really horror that in our community that there could be this much hate and that somebody would come and express this.
For employees with Durham Partners, the discovery was especially jarring in a medical office where people from all backgrounds come for care.
We're a melting pot, South Florida, and to see that kind of hate directed at different ethnic groups and different religious groups is very upsetting.
I feel like it was targeted.
Creating a sense of fear and uncertainty in the office.
This is disrespectful. And this is just disgusting. It's a crime scene, and this is something that has to be addressed, and this is absolutely not okay.
A fistfight broke out at the doors of the King County Courthouse. A scene like this was really no surprise to anyone who spends much time here, including County Councilmember Reagan Dunn.
This ongoing security problem we have here at the King County Courthouse is ridiculous.
Dunn says the December attack on 75-year-old Jeanette Markin should be the last straw.
I was just appalled, just utterly appalled, and then just angry.
Fale Pea is accused of using a board with a bolt through it to hit Jeanette in the face at random. She lost her eye in the attack, and police officers said they already knew Pea was a threat.
Who is this guy?
He's a regular. He usually punches.
We're just glad that she doesn't need any more surgeries. My mom keeps saying, like, is there something happening for this to change? Like, it doesn't happen to anyone else?
It's a question Councilmember Dunn is also asking.
Multiple violent assaults. I'm sorry, what is he doing out on the street? We're not doing people any favors to let them wander around and attack people on the streets of Seattle.
Not bad.
President Trump signing the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act into law Wednesday. It allows 2% and whole milk to be available for students during school lunch. Dairy farmers in Wisconsin say it's a step in the right direction.
This is something that we have been working with our lawmakers in Washington, D.C., and it's great to see that there's an additional option for children in school.
The new bill won't remove the options for skim or 1% milk, which were previously the only kind being served in schools. The Edge Dairy Cooperative says it will help keep the dairy market active.
With low milk prices right now, any push that we can have with helping move that fluid milk market and bolstering sales, they are 100% behind this.
A Northeast Wisconsin dairy farmer and member of Edge was in the Oval Office as the bill was signed.
Our children are growing into active teenagers and athletes, and what do they need? They need strong bones, they need the energy, they need the healthy muscles, and so we are so grateful that the science is there.
Coming up, the NFL playoffs continue tomorrow, but extreme weather could play a big role in the major matchups ahead. We'll break it down right after this. Oh boy, football fans are getting ready for a big playoff weekend in the NFL tomorrow. The Buffalo Bills and Denver Broncos are going to get the weekend started in Denver. Then tomorrow night, the San Francisco 49ers are in Seattle to face division rivals, the Seahawks. On Sunday, the Houston Texans are looking to continue their road magic against the New England Patriots. And then the night game, the Los Angeles Rams going up against the Chicago Bears. But weather could be a factor. While the conditions for tomorrow look good in Denver and Seattle, it's still going to be on the cold side. Look at those temperatures. In Foxborough for the Patriots game, forecasts call for some snow. Then get this, in Chicago, it will be bitter cold with feels like temperatures in the single digits. Also, a chance of snow there as well. So if you are lucky enough to head out to the game, be sure to bundle up. All right, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Taylor Murray.